story with you. All the things that he brought me through. The stormy days and my rainy days. You don't know all the tears I've cried. The things I've kept bottled up inside. Trying my best to be strong, waiting on God and holding on. You don't know what I had to endure, and you wonder why I'm so sure. 'Cause my Father never lets me down. He's always around, even when I can't see. Jesus, you don't know how many times I prayed over and over, but my situation didn't change. Never changed. Just when I felt like it was the end, you came and you did it again. You did it again. And you did it again. I know you got a story too. How God stepped in and made a way for you. He wiped every one of your tears, yeah. And He's the reason you're still here. Don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You just don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Tell somebody you just don't know. Hey, don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Just don't know. Just don't know. You don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Oh, Lord. Don't know. Let me tell you my testimony. I started singing at the age of 5. My mother put me on stage. I was so terrified. I didn't know then. God had a plan for me. Singing all over the world. Encouraging me. But it's my story. I'm not gonna lie to you. I made some mistakes. And I'm not talking about prostitution. But grace and mercy brought me through. But this is not about me. Let me minister to you. Come on, you had some heartache. You had some pain. You had some sunshine. You had some rain. But through it all, you didn't give up. You kept on believing. Kept on trusting in God. You don't know it. You wanna tell somebody. You just don't know what I've been through. You just don't know. Thank you, Jesus.
Hello.
Hey.
How's
Hey,
everybody doing?
good.
Everybody
I'm
having a
doing good.
good week so far? Yep, everybody's happy. All right, we have I guess an interesting topic. So first of all, Shalom has something she want to mention.
Okay, so I don't know if it's finalized yet what day we're doing it yet, but we're gonna probably have a movie night on Zoom. and we're gonna probably take a We're gonna actually take a survey after opening prayer, and out of all the lists, you can pick which one you want, so we can know what to play.
Okay, who's doing opening prayer? Oh, Ruben's here. Ruben, give us opening prayer.
Oh, okay. Dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us get to the end of the day safely. And thank you for Mr. Willie taking the time out of his day to teach us about you and help everything to go good. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, we're gonna take a
Amen.
poll. Everybody should see the poll. Does everybody see the poll? Oh, woo.
Oh, the host and the co-host can't vote.
Why not?
It says that in the poll.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am going to take away you co-host people for a while, and then we'll come back. Okay, Shalom, you should be able to vote. Michaela should be able to vote. Cameron should be able to vote.
Okay, I did.
You voted? Has everybody voted?
I have.
I did.
I can't vote.
Okay, try now, Michaela.
I don't see it.
You don't see the poll?
No.
Can you put it up again?
It's still up.
Oh, is there a green thing that says poll in session or something like that?
Yeah. It's like only 4 people have voted. Can everybody see it? Let me enlarge it. Can you see it now?
No.
I don't know why y'all can't see. Y'all must have been bad. Let's try it again. No, it's still there. Only 2 people haven't voted. Three people haven't voted. Is it who hasn't voted and can't see it?
Me.
Who is that?
Denisha.
Okay, Denisha, I don't know why you're having a problem, but let's say, okay, let me know if you hear a movie that you may be interested in. We'll put that down for those who this is like 3 people haven't voted. So if you haven't voted and you hear something, just say you want that. The first one is, okay, just 2 people. Brian Banks.
I choose that one.
Okay. And the next one is Wonder Woman 1984. The next one is Split. Other one is Soul, Hamilton, The Help, or something else. Okay, so I am going to, anybody who hasn't voted. Okay, so like 1. So Denisha, were you able to vote?
Oh yeah, I found it.
Okay. So it's 1 person. That 1 person could be me. Let me make sure. No, it's one other person who has not voted. Okay, I'm gonna stop. All right, so let me share the results. Can everybody see the results?
Yes.
So 44% says Wonder Woman. Then the other ones are just like equal. There were Brian Banks and Hamilton, and the Help had the same number of votes. So what about if we go with, we can change it. We'll have probably Wonder Woman, then Brian Banks, and then we can do Hamilton. I mean, these are just different times that we can do it. Would y'all want to do it that way?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so the first one will be Wonder Woman 1984. And then after that one, it would be Brian Banks. And then I think the next one was Hamilton. All right. And we will get to, we'll pick a night and how to do that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ready for tonight's discussion?
Mm,
Y'all saying like what?
sure.
Anybody know what the discussion is about?
Is it about drugs?
It's about drugs. So it's about teens and drugs. And let me tell you why I picked that subject. For almost the last month and a half, I have been judging a high school mock trial competition. And the case that we've been dealing with in that mock trial competition is vaping. And the facts of the case is there's this 15-year-old boy who started vaping, and then he got problems with his lungs, and then he died. And so most of the case was that the family was suing the company that sold the vaping, one, that he was underage and that he died because of vaping, and that those who were selling the product made it very attractive to minors. So also I looked and saw that had become a big issue that's going on. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about just teens and drugs, just from a big point. So I want to, I'm gonna start with vaping. So I got a short video.
You hid your vape underneath your pillows.
Yeah.
And you would come and smoke how often? You hid your vape underneath your pillows.
Yeah.
And you would come and smoke how often?
Oh, I couldn't go longer than like 10, 15 minutes without hitting it. It was so addicting. I brought it with me everywhere I went.
Seema Herman never expected that what she thought was a harmless habit, vaping, would end up nearly killing her.
It took 2 days for my lungs to fail and I almost died.
The 18-year-old going viral with this photo from her hospital bed, a tube still pumping oxygen to her failing lungs. In her hands, a call to action.
Asked for like a pen and paper because that was the only way I could communicate. And I wrote, I want to start a no vaping campaign. That was the first thing I did when I opened my eyes.
Seema's story is just the latest in a landslide of incidents linked to vaping, sparking what many officials are calling a national health crisis.
What we've seen in the course of the past, let's say, month, is an increased number of people who are coming in with respiratory problems as a result of vaping.
So far, the Centers for Disease Control report more than 450 possible cases in 33 states of lung illness associated with vaping. And 6 deaths have been confirmed in California, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, Oregon, and now Kansas. Last Friday, the CDC issued a stark warning. If you are vaping, no matter how old you are, you should consider stopping.
Like, I didn't think of myself as a smoker. The vaping just makes it seem like it's nothing, like you're doing nothing wrong.
Seema was in high school when she started vaping nicotine.
I was 16 the first time, 15 even, the first time I bought it at the smoke shop. I went in and I was like, can I get a pack of Juul pods? And they were like, how old are you? And I said, 22. And they were just like, okay. It ended up becoming my oxygen. I couldn't live without it. I needed it all the time, every day. But because all of my friends were doing it all the time and no one else had symptoms that I had, I couldn't, like, I wouldn't even have imagined that maybe this is killing me.
Seema was an active, healthy teen. She'd been dancing for years, even making dance team her freshman year of college. But as her vaping habit increased, adding in cannabis, her ability to dance disappeared. She was vaping a cartridge a day. That's like smoking the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes in one day. Her parents had no idea their daughter had become hopelessly addicted.
This healthy dancer dancing 12 hours a week, stop dancing because of it, stop living because of it, stop going to school and college because of it.
Seema says she was feeling sick all the time.
Over a year, I lost like 50 pounds without trying.
50 pounds?
Yeah.
By this summer, Seema had stopped going to her college classes. She says her health issues were getting worse, but no doctor could nail down what was wrong.
Did you not tell the doctors that you vaped?
I actually did. I made sure that every hospital, every ER, every doctor's office I went to, I told them that I smoked.
But you never thought, I can't breathe, I feel like I'm gonna die. Maybe it's because I'm vaping every 10 to 15 minutes.
No doctor ever said, like, maybe you should stop vaping.
It all came to a head on August 15th when Seema's dad rushed her to the ER.
I said, go fast. Don't let me close my eyes. Don't let me fall asleep or I won't wake up.
Now, why did you say that?
Because I knew I was dying.
You felt death on you.
Yeah, it was terrifying. The worst part was I couldn't let it, like, my parents watch it happen to me.
But hospital staff couldn't figure out why Seema couldn't breathe. 2 days later, doctors had to put her on a ventilator.
I was begging them, vent her faster, she's going to die. And it was terrifying.
It was in that agonizing moment that Seema's cousin revealed her secret addiction.
She said, you know, she smokes every day. I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, she smokes every day. She smokes that vape. I said, you tell the doctors right now. You go tell the doctors right now. And I ransacked her room and I found all the vapes. They look like gum wrappers. They look like little candy wrappers. They look like little cute mascara wands.
This progression is so fast.
Dr. Catherine Melamed is a pulmonologist at UCLA Medical Center. She worked on Seema's case.
This was Seema's chest x-ray when she came into our hospital. These hazy white areas here at the base, at the bottom of her lungs, just show that she could have a pneumonia. But what you can then see is if we choose an x-ray from just less than 48 hours later, whoa, now her lungs, all of this white haziness here is inflammation. From just day 1 to day 3 is remarkable.
Dr. Melamed is on the front lines of what health officials fear is an emerging crisis. The National Youth Tobacco Survey found a 78% jump in e-cigarette usage among high school students alone, but any research on the impacts of vaping lags far behind.
Part of vaping is heating oil and then inhaling that oil. And that's not something the lung is used to inhaling. And so with that comes an inflammatory reaction that then produces phlegm and sputum and gives the lungs sort of that wet cough phlegm property.
That sounds terrible.
Yes.
And dangerous.
Yes.
Last month, 17-year-old Tristan Zofeld described how he spent 18 days in the hospital fighting for his life after vaping.
I woke up just throwing up everywhere, and my heart was just pounding out of my chest, going 100 miles an hour.
Tristan lost 15 pounds and said he had to relearn to walk. And just yesterday, a Texas teen had to be rushed to the hospital after vaping at school.
He hit it, he passed out, and he would not wake up. Like, he was not waking up.
In Wisconsin today, a man was arrested for making thousands of illegal THC vaping cartridges.
Don't do it.
The state of New York is taking an aggressive approach in an attempt to find answers and crack down on black market products.
You shouldn't be vaping products that clearly you don't know what you're smoking or you're vaping.
Many vaping products are popular with young adults and teenagers, but no company has taken more heat than Juul, the industry leader. The company says it's designed to get adult smokers off cigarettes. But just this week, the FDA sent a warning letter to Juul accusing it of illegally marketing its nicotine vape products as safer than traditional cigarettes without proof. Juul responded, "We share these concerns about youth vaping." It adds it shut down its Facebook and Instagram accounts and recently began deploying new technology to verify IDs.
Is this her?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
But Seema's mom blames the whole industry for trying to hook kids early.
The fact that they market this crap to children and they turn it into pink, pretty purple packaging candy pisses me off.
There's a lot we don't know about the both short-term and long-term consequences of vaping. And so I would just say, don't.
In the weeks since Seema has worked to rehab her lungs, she still feels that pull to pick up the vape.
Now I don't necessarily crave the nicotine. I don't necessarily crave the weed. It's just craving like the act of smoking. So that's been my hardest thing of like staying away from it.
But she hopes that going public with her story can keep her and countless others like her alive.
What would you tell somebody who's under 18, who's thinking about vaping and says, I'm just going to try it one time to see what it's like?
I would show them my pictures and say, I tried it once too. And then I tried it another time and then another time. It's just remembering that you don't need it. Like, it's going to kill you.
For Nightline, I'm Adrienne Bankert in Los Angeles.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel.
All right, y'all looking all scared. It's a serious subject. So let's talk a little bit about it. What do y'all think about that? Because most of it, like I was saying, I mentioned that I'm judging this mock trial competition. And I think even the final rounds of that is on Sunday for the championship. And the case is basically this: a 15-year-old boy dies from vaping. The company that sells the e-cigarettes seems to monitor two underage young people because of the type of flavors that they offer, how they package it. So let's talk about it. I mean, what do y'all think? You think it's something you ought not to worry about? Don't get quiet on me, so talk to me.
I heard that there was a nicotine-free vape as well. I don't know if it's better than that, but I'm just saying.
So if you're saying nicotine-free, and what you're saying, hearing from what the doctor's saying, is that what you're smoking basically is some type of oil chemicals, and whether or not it's the nicotine or not having nicotine is mainly the oil chemicals that cause the damage to your lungs. So it's one thing to just say nicotine, but the other part is that you're smoking, you vaping. It's an oil that you taken into your body, whether it's with or without nicotine. Do you think that's still okay if you're smoking something? I mean, it's an oil. It's an oil that you're burning and it's going into your lungs. And so it's one thing to say what the effects of nicotine may be, but even without nicotine, that doesn't mean that it makes vaping safe. Anybody else? Y'all too quiet for this, which I think is a important topic. So we've talked about everything, I think, except teens and drugs, but I'm not lost on the fact that, hey, we don't have, our teens in the Seventh-day Adventist Church don't do drugs. I know that that is totally not a true statement. I mean, I know that to be factual. That's not a true statement. I know it's not because I remember some years ago that students were smoking marijuana at GAAA. That students were selling marijuana at GAAA. So don't think like, okay, I'm never going to try this. But like the young lady said, no, I'm only going to try it one time. And based on all the research and what I heard, it's more addictive than cigarettes. So anybody else, have any thoughts about it?
Honestly, the first time I heard of like Jewel or whatever, I heard like what's it called? The flavors, and I thought it was just like candy or something, like they were smoking candy. But then I heard this product contains nicotine. I'm like, oh no.
So you was about to get some, Michaela? Smoking
No,
some candy?
no, I wasn't. I wasn't even like thinking about buying it. I just thought, oh, that's cool. Like they found a way to smoke candy.
Okay. And so if you're just thinking like that, then what do you think other people are thinking like, okay, oh, I don't know about nicotine. Even with that, I'm just smoking some candy. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm smoking some candy. And that's the whole issue. So when you're saying these flavors candy, that's when most people are saying that you're marketing to young people because they think basically all they're doing is getting some type of candy. But you can see based on what the young lady said is that it was very addictive, that she probably was vaping more than what somebody would be smoking a whole pack of cigarettes. Anybody else? Because I know y'all have heard about it. Y'all not lost to it. So what do you think? What would you say to somebody that you knew was vaping or thinking about vaping? Or it wouldn't make a difference to you?
To be honest, I wouldn't say nothing.
You wouldn't say anything?
Nope,
You just sit in the back and say, let me have a try?
probably.
And then what happens?
What you mean?
Then later on, we'll be talking about, oh, Shalom, she's sick. Y'all know Shalom died because she was vaping. I thought she
That's
was.
not funny.
But I mean, it'd be true. You know, if something happened to you and somebody found out what it was, then they're going to be talking about, but she shouldn't have been doing it. I thought she was a nice, good Christian girl. She was vaping on the side. Because, I mean, people do that. Hey, you know, you can do certain things. And, you know, if you're using drugs or you just trying to play the role, if you're doing alcohol and nobody knows, and then like, oh, how did he die? Alcohol poisoning. So I've seen that when I in college, I just knew that people would drink a whole lot. So I know that it was like, it's not anything that I want to do. So and normally like I do, I share with y'all, it's like, it has never been, well, I think I tried a cigarette probably when I was in the 7th or 8th grade, but I didn't really smoke it. I just like had it in my hand blowing smoke because I thought it just looked cute, but I wasn't like taking it and inhaling. And I remember doing that like one summer, we were just hanging out in the streets and I just did that. But I'm just glad that I didn't do it to the point that became a habit. And the other thing, the easiest, simplest thing, and you know, a lot of times we don't want to label it as a drug, is alcohol, is drinking. And you know, like, okay, you know, alcohol, I mean, it's just drinking. It can't be anything bad. So that is not it's not something that you want to get into, because I think sometimes, especially as teenagers, you think it's cute, or you think it's a sign of I'm grown, or you like, hey, I want to be like everybody else, so I'm going to drink this. So I have my drinking story. So when I was in college and I was pledging a fraternity, and it was like everybody just thought that the people that was in this fraternity, everybody drank. And I did not drink. I mean, it's just like I was never a person that drank. So actually, when I was pledging, and pledging is the process to get into the fraternity, they would always tell me, well, you're going to be drinking before you get off this line. We ain't pledging you. You're going to have to drink. So they would try to make me drink, pour it on me. And I'm like, I'm not drinking, close my mouth. And then they say, you can wear it. And then they would take the alcohol and pour it on my head and go down. So I end up, when it was over, I still had not taken any alcohol. And I remember this date so well. It was January the 8th, 1983. It was on a Saturday night. We had just gone back after Christmas break. And I had my frat brothers, they were in the house and they were drinking. And they're like, come on. I'm like, all right. And I got this glass and I poured some straight gin in it. And I poured enough Coca-Cola in it to just give it color. And that was my first time drinking something. So I took the glass and I did and just drunk it up. And it burned. That wasn't nothing. Didn't bother me. So I was walking from, I think, and it was, like I said, it was January and it was cold. And I walked probably, I would say, less than the distance than leaving the church, going over to BCJA. I was walking on campus and it was cold, but I was hot and I was sweating. I'm like, ooh, I think I'm drunk. And I did a major U-turn, went back to the frat house and went in my room. And I spent the rest of that night with my head between a trash can, throwing up. And the next day I had hole in my head, and that was my one experience. Now, I was Adventist at that time. I was in church. I just tried it. That was the one and only time. Like I said, I remember the date quite well. If you look at it, January the 8th, 1983. And that was, to me, like, I don't know why I did it, because that was almost 2 years after I had pledged. I'm like, okay. And I just did it. And I realized I had enough sense that I knew it was January and it was cold when I was walking on the campus. And I realized I was sweating and I was hot. And I quickly turned around. Had I not turned around and gone back, I would have been on campus and I probably would have been somewhere in a dorm visiting somebody and throwing up. And everybody would have saw it and said, oh, he drunk. So I'm glad that I turned around and didn't make a complete fool of myself and people saw that. But that was the one, and that was the only time. But the other stories I would have, and most of you know that, I represented criminal defense and most of them were young people. And the things that people would do under the influence of alcohol and drug just amazed me. And I think we've talked a little bit about it before, that even if it's not alcohol, that there are certain drugs, and especially, I'm saying this to the young ladies, that you go out somewhere and somebody gives you something to drink, which is totally a no-no unless you point it, then you have things in it, you have things that will knock you out, things that will make you not know what's going on. And that would not be a good thing if somebody no gave you a drink and you unconscious, because you know what that can lead to, almost any and everything. So you got to be careful about these type of things. Anybody have it? I mean, I keep talking about it because it's serious, but does anybody have any questions, or is there anything that anybody want to say? Or y'all don't like talking about this? Or I'm making it too real for you?
Yeah. It's okay.
Well, who was saying something?
It's okay.
Okay. Was somebody else saying something also? Or let me look. Let me just see who's all on here. Is that I think, especially for those of you who probably, even in middle school, I'm not going to say just high school, some of you, just like Michaela said, she just heard it, she thought it was some candy. But some of you know somebody that may be smoking, vaping, or doing drugs or alcohol. And, you know, like Shalom said, like, I probably won't say anything. But do you think you would have some obligation or what type of friend or whatever you think you would be if you allowed a close friend of yours just to continue to be involved in drugs? Anybody? Or you wouldn't care enough about your friend to be concerned? Y'all know I don't like y'all when y'all get quiet because y'all look like y'all calling me names. All right. What I'm gonna do, I want to show the other video.
Cigarette smoking among American young people is at historic lows, but the number of children using electronic cigarettes has increased. The government estimates the number is 2 million. Although e-cigarettes deliver nicotine, many teens mistakenly believe there are no serious health risks. And since newer devices look like computer thumb drives, it's harder for educators to detect them. That has led to worries about e-cigarettes in schools, including the most popular one, Juul. Special correspondent Kavitha Cardozo, with our partner Education Week, visited a school in Milford, Connecticut, where the principal is trying to change the behavior. It's part of our weekly series, Making the Grade.
A lot of Juuls that remain in...
Fran Thompson, the principal of Jonathan Law High School, opens what he calls his vaping drawer.
These are some of the items that we confiscated this week.
The items are all e-cigarettes. The most popular brand by far is called Juul.
This is a Juul. I know it looks like a flash drive, right? So the liquid goes in here.
Basically, they're devices that heat up a liquid, often nicotine, and you inhale the vapor.
And then they smoke it, they vape it.
Kids can hide them anywhere.
Their socks, their backpacks, their pockets, their wallets, their bras, back pockets, everywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. Because they're so small.
Students Zane Burks and Emma Hud say that's part of Juul's popularity.
It's a lot easier than smoking a cigarette or drinking. People do it in class all the time, and kids like that it's sneaky and that they're getting away with it because it gives you that like rebellion.
Are you really writing about Christopher Columbus? I have athletes doing it. I have honors kids doing it. There's absolutely no stereotype in terms of the spectrum of who would be doing this.
That makes this school in Milford, Connecticut, typical. Juuling, as it's called, has spiked all over the country among youth. But unlike alcohol or cigarettes, often parents aren't even sure what it is. Parent Liz Goodwin has 2 teenagers in the school. She found nicotine liquid pods in their pockets while she was doing laundry.
When I found the pods, I Googled it and looked for it, and I couldn't find anything. I just had a photo of it and tried to describe it and what is this? And then I saw the amount of nicotine. It's the equivalent of 1 pack of cigarettes. I also understood some of my adult friends used e-cigarettes as a way of getting off of smoking. So I didn't know how dangerous it was.
I'll show you what was going on.
Principal Thompson says his aha moment was in the bathroom.
So your typical high school bathroom, right?
Brings back memories.
Just like watching Grease, right? But what was happening was you might have 5 or 6 kids hanging out in here with the door closed and vaping.
Teacher said groups of students were gone for more than 20-25 minutes at a time.
I had boys wrestling in the bathrooms. I had girls setting up little tent cities in the bathroom so they could hang out and then come back totally lost because they missed that instructional time and really unfocused because they were buzzed from the vaping.
It was hard to know for certain, though, because there are no obvious signs. There's very little smoke and no characteristic cigarette smell.
You really can't tell. Like, how do I know it's not a Bath & Body Works perfume that they spray that smells like mango?
Suchitra Krishnan Saran runs the Yale Tobacco Centers of Regulatory Science at Yale University. She says the flavors are a big part of e-cigarettes' popularity. They sound playful and harmless. Mango, mint, cotton candy, blueberry pie.
These products come in over 7,000 different flavors, and they can also mix and match to create their own, which again introduces a sense of novelty.
But the vapors inhaled have been found to contain lead, zinc, chromium, and nickel. And Krishnan Saran says nicotine, the main liquid in these devices, is extremely addictive and can cause memory and attention loss, especially in the developing teenage brain.
There's something about nicotine that the teen brain is not only more sensitive to it, but it also leads to greater use of other substances like cocaine, marijuana.
Juuls were created as a way to help adult smokers stop smoking. Krishnan Saran says there's not a lot of research available, but e-cigarettes do contain fewer toxic chemicals than a regular cigarette. But she says that doesn't mean they're safe for kids. In fact, a big misconception is most kids think they're inhaling water vapor.
No, definitely not. It is not water vapor, and I think that is a message that needs to be delivered very clearly to youth. There are chemicals in these e-liquids. You are vaporizing the chemicals and you are inhaling them.
Principal Thompson felt he couldn't punish students for vaping because they didn't understand why it was wrong. So he started educating them.
These are all the chemicals that can be found in one single cigarette.
Janelle Jesse with St. Vincent's Medical Center has spoken to more than 16,000 students from all over Connecticut this year.
I asked the question, raise your hand if you know someone your own age that smokes cigarettes. Very rare do I get more than 5. And then I asked the same question, do you know someone your own age that uses a Juul or a vape? Almost every single hand goes up from a 5th grade classroom all the way up to a 12th grade classroom.
Students Morgan Macy and Anthony Mendez say images on social media spread quickly.
You see the younger celebrities, they're holding a Juul in their hand, and everyone on Snapchat will like post videos of them juuling. They just find it as a way to be cool.
There's a lot of tricks. There's like smoke bubbles, kind of like do a ring around and then a bigger ring. It's different kinds of tricks that they do with it online.
So Jessie gives them information and answers questions. She even has a session for their teachers.
So where do you put the fluid? Why do you need power?
So it's empty.
I know nothing about this.
I think not having these Juuls and this industry regulated by federal and also state officials is outrageous.
I'll tell you straight up, this is one of our top concerns right now.
Scott Gottlieb is the commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. He says while e-cigarettes can be used by adults to stop smoking, it can't be done at the expense of children.
If all we do is end up hooking a whole generation of young people on nicotine by making these products available, we won't have done a service from a public health standpoint. And so we need to be very aggressive in trying to take steps to crack down, prevent the youth use of these products.
The FDA is being sued by several organizations that are challenging Gottlieb's decision to allow e-cigarettes to remain on the market until 2022 without regulatory review. Gottlieb says they needed time to set comprehensive standards for all these products, not just Juul.
We also can't be in a position where we're playing whack-a-mole, where we're just going after one particular product and don't have in place rules that address the overall category.
The FDA has requested internal research from e-cigarette companies, including why these products are so popular with kids. They're conducting a national undercover blitz to stop stores from selling to youth. And this fall, the FDA will roll out their first ever comprehensive public health campaign about e-cigarettes.
Vaping can deliver nicotine to your brain, reprogramming you to crave more and more.
In a statement, Juul says they cannot be more emphatic. No young person or non-nicotine user should ever try Juul. The company has pledged $30 million for their own education and prevention efforts.
Wait, that's right here.
Despite how proactive this school is about educating students against e-cigarette use, students say Juuls are still extremely common. None of these 4 students say they vaped, but they don't hesitate.
If I asked you to get me a Juul right now, how long do you think it would take you?
3 minutes.
5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less, yeah.
Don't even know how to get one.
Just ask.
Principal Thompson knows this.
It's always going to be catch-up. It's always going to be reactionary. So you do the best you can, I think.
But he says it's critical to keep educating kids about the risks.
I consider vaping to be the next health epidemic for teenagers, and I believe in my heart that this is going to have long-term effects not dissimilar to smoking and cancer.
For the PBS NewsHour and Education Week, I'm Kavitha Cardoza in Milford, Connecticut.
Everybody quiet. What do you think? What do you think now? Do you think it's a serious issue, or it's just, I don't care? Listening, somebody.
It is serious because people are dying from using it. And it is addictive.
So what do you do? What do you do to, I could easily tell everybody on here, teenager, don't do it. But I also know that if you have friends that are doing it, they're going to say, hey, try this. And because of peer pressure or the desire to fit in, then you're going to take that, ooh, that was good. What flavor was that? And you see that even though you said, I think Shalom said earlier that it has less nicotine. Yeah, it was originally created to get people off cigarettes. But you see that the effect that it has on young people is not the same, and it can lead to serious health issues and also to cancer or things like that. So it's not something that's cute. It's not something that's going to make you popular. But you saw each one of those high school students say that, hey, they knew somebody in that school that vaped because they could get it within 5 minutes or less. So, any comments? Because this is something, I know y'all all quiet about it. And if somebody knows anybody, or if somebody using it themselves, I hope these 2 videos in itself would make you rethink. And I think that's the main thing. That's the main component of it. And I know this is a difficult topic for us to deal with it because nobody wants to say, oh, hey, I tried it and it was okay. Or my friend uses it, but that's fine with me. So I don't want nobody calling anybody out. And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I'm just saying that scripture is our bodies are the temple of God, and we got to be careful what we put in it. So while there is certainly no scripture that specifically addressed vaping or cigarette, but it does tell us that our bodies are temple of God, and we need to be careful about what we put in. The Bible is specific of talking about what strong wine is, or that it's a debauchery, that certain things. And I think we talked about it couple of weeks ago when we talked about John the Baptist, that John the Baptist lost his head because the king was drunk, was intoxicated, a woman dancing in front of him, and she asked for the head of John the Baptist, and that was an issue. And we hear about even, I think, some other biblical people who had been drinking and drunk and things like that. So it's not like it's a new thing. And even I think a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the first miracle with Jesus turning water into wine, that we did talk about that was not the same wine. When we talk about wine today, that's somewhat fermented and it has that alcohol in it. So I just think, to me, I just wanted to make sure that we talked about this because I think it's a serious issue. And it was something as I sat to judge this mock trial and kept hearing this case over and over that, hey, here's a 15-year-old who thought it was just cute and nice. And then he developed lung issues and he died. And just like the first young lady, nobody knew, her parents didn't know. And had she gone without feeling that way, then she would have died. So that we don't, I mean, I don't know, haven't done all the research, but there are millions of young people that are dying because of vaping. And all I'm saying, if you're doing it, stop. If you're not, don't start. Any questions, any closing comments? Y'all mad at me again?
No.
Who's mad? Denisha, you mad with me?
No.
Who's mad? Because y'all get mad when I be trying to tell y'all the truth. So who's mad tonight?
I'm not.
Who? Ruben, you say you're mad with me?
Oh, no. I said we're good.
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, y'all know I like when we have these discussions to keep it real. You know, I've been a teenager, but I'm not lost to it. You know, I'm not going to try to hide from anybody like, okay, this is what I did as a teenager. If I think I can use that as an object lesson for you to learn and not do certain things, then I'm going to share it with you. I'm not one of those like, you know, telling my kids like, don't do something like I've been perfect and didn't do anything, but I'm just lucky that I've learned for even just trying to smoke that one time and getting intoxicated that one time, because I know that there are people that are older who probably had it worse and probably had serious drinking problem or serious drug problems and would never admit it because people figure like, hey, you're going to judge me. And I don't think any of us are in any position to judge anybody. So that's why, you know, I'm comfortable sharing anything that I might have experienced so I can say, look, hey, don't do this, because I don't know what would have happened if that little one drinking episode to me would not led to me being in alcoholic with anything like that. But I will share this, and it goes, I had an uncle who basically was shot and killed because he was on drugs. I mean, he had a serious drug problem. And when he had that drug problem, he was shot. His wife shot him. My aunt, she shot him. She killed him because he was on drugs. And, you know, she was never charged anything because they saw it as just self-defense. Had she not, something would have happened to her. And then his son, my cousin, I think he was 20 something, that had gotten involved with drugs. And he was in a car coming home one Friday night and somebody wanted drugs and they went and they shot him and he died. So that was an uncle, that was a cousin, because of the fact of alcohol, drugs, they both died from that. So I know this personally firsthand, what these type of things could do. Have a brother, a younger brother. He was like 2 years younger than me. And he died, I think about 3 years ago. And it was basically because of drinking. I mean, he was younger than me. And I know that he started drinking probably after I had left and went away to college. So he would have been, I think, in the 11th grade, and he started drinking. And he didn't make 53. He didn't make 53 because he had been drinking so much. And, you know, so, and he died. So that's why this issue is important to me. I've had, like I say, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, because of the effect of drugs. And I could tell you hundreds of stories about people that I've had to represent, teenagers, because of their drug use, drug selling, things that they did because they were under the influence. So I just wanted to share all of that because I'm not of the opinion like, okay, I got a nice group of young people, teenagers, and I know they're not going to ever do anything like this. And I'm not lost or crazy to think that any of you may not think about it because of peer pressure and other people trying to do something. So that's why I wanted us to have this discussion tonight. So any final comments? And don't be mad at me again, but if y'all are, I don't care because I still love all of you. So, but any questions? Final questions before we close?
No.
Okay. So I think you have any announcements, Shalom?
Okay. Yeah. Can you show the flyer? Is it okay if you could show the flyer?
Okay, let me see if. Can you see it?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. This Saturday, at 5:30 p.m., the church will be hosting a live, I don't know what they call it, but they'll be hosting something on YouTube, and you can also check on Facebook.
Okay. And Shalom, I think there was some issues that you mentioned about the youth wanting to have a conversation with the pastoral staff.
Oh, yeah. So thank you, Mr. Davis, again. So I talked to Mr. Davis about this, that I want the youth and the pastoral staff to be able to go to Zoom together and talk so we could tell them how we're feeling, what we like to have in the church. And it got approved. So I'm really happy about that. And we're still going to wait for the dates to come out.
Yeah, and I will be following back up with Pastor Jack because I told him, I said, the young people are ready to protest. They're going to come to the church and they're going to burn the place down because they ready to protest and they want stuff done. So I told him, and I said, Pastor, you know I support you, but I'm going to be the drum major when the young people come marching on the church. I'm going to be with them. So he will set up a meeting, and also that there's going to be, and I let you know when there is going to be something that he's going to plan for the young people to do at church within the next couple of weeks. And that's basically because y'all are speaking up. I mean, if Shalom hadn't said anything, then I'm like, okay. So as soon as she mentioned it to me, I called him and told him that it was something that you guys wanted and something that needs to be done. And as I say, when we have these discussions that, speak up, find your voices. Don't be silent. Don't be quiet, and, express yourself. I've always said that long as you're respectful in the way you present yourself, I think adults should like that. I mean, I really would, any of my, I want to say kids, but they're not kids, but any of my daughter or my sons, if they had an opinion and they disagree with me, I don't have a problem with them saying I disagree, long as it's said in a respectful way. And I think that should be the approach that everybody on here should have. Don't lose your voice, because if you don't speak up correctly, then you're going to suppress your thought process in the future. So I think it's a good thing that y'all ask for this meeting. You'll get the meeting. And when you get it, don't get quiet and just listen. If the pastor says something and you want more, then tell them you want more. All right?
Okay.
Because I'm going to be with you. All right. So I think tomorrow, is it Cameron? Cameron, you're doing part of the Sabbath school class. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to tell anybody?
Come to Sabbath school, please.
That's good enough. All right. So who wants to give us closing? I'm sorry, Sister Pruitt, is there anything that you want to say, or Sister St. Victor, anything y'all want to say or add?
No, I don't have anything additional to add. I think this is a great topic that we talked about this evening. And as always, I'm keeping our young people in prayer. And thank you, Mr. Willie, for your due diligence and, keeping this platform alive. And it's been a blessing for me. I've never heard of Jewel. So this is interesting. So thank you for sharing again, and God bless you all.
Yeah, and I think, Madam Leader, it's a good thing because I really didn't hear much about it. And I think with all of us, especially those of us working with young people and you working with Encounter, that you don't want to think like Michaela, oh, they just got some candy. So, I mean, I think it's important for us as adults to know, because some of y'all will try to pull something over, but y'all not that quick to get it with me, but I'm just letting you know. Sister Pruitt, do you have anything you want to add? Okay. Who wants to give us closing prayer? Don't everybody jump at it now. Okay, Cameron, you can go ahead and give us closing prayer.
Okay, bow your heads and close your eyes for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us up this morning. Please be with us and keep us safe from the COVID. Please be with the Vice President and the President of the United States. Please be with our family members and keep them safe. Please be with the pastors and everyone else. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Everybody have a safe evening.